I'm just going to have a quick look at the first 5 products in the Ultimate Programmer Superstack. There's 28 products in here. Once you bought the bundle, you go off to the InfoStack site and then you'll be able to download the books and access the courses. Now, just going to have a quick look at the first 5, which covers HTML and JavaScript and getting your stuff online. So the first one is HTML and CSS for complete beginners. So let's have a quick look in here. It's PDF download. You can download it as EPUB and MOBI, so you can put it on your devices. Now, what I like about this is, it's clearly aimed at beginners, right? But what's good about it is it's very screenshot oriented. It's got simple examples and it works you through things. But what I really like about this is the way that it teaches things the way that I tend to teach things. So it'll give you simple examples and you can just get things started, which is slightly different from other HTML books, because if I jump through to page 243 in the PDF, this is like 3/4 of the way through the book. And at this point, you start to learn the structure of an HTML page. You've learned all the elements and tags and the things that you do in order to make things appear on the page and to style them. But at this point, you learn the structure. So you're not overloaded by information that makes no sense at the start of the book. You learn all this and afterwards, so you know how to then build pages that validate. But the early parts of the book are focused on the actual making that stuff happen, rendering things, using paragraphs, and it uses an online editor so you can see stuff as you're typing it in, which is good. And if you look at the JavaScript Waybook, it covers CodePen and JS Fiddle, so you'll see multiple online tools for doing this. But I like this. I think it's a good beginner's book, covers things very simply and goes through CSS styling, basic tags, moving things about, tables, rendering, so you get to understand HTML, its structure and basic pages here, which I think is good. And then to complement that in the course, I'll come back to 0 to start up in 30 days in a minute. In the core HTML how to get online quickly course, that's covers much the same material in a slightly different order, but you'll see online. You'll see the full typing in of the code and seeing it render, and you'll see it from separate files. So this is complementary for building the web page, because what happens is normally when you're learning a subject, you have to choose one resource. So you have to learn it that way. When you get a bundle, you then have access to simple books, more advanced books, online courses, and you can jump between them to support your learning style. So let's jump on to the one that I skipped over there, which is the 0 to start up in 30 days. Now it has overlap with the two HTML and CSS things that we just looked at, but it's not really intending to go in that in detail. It's just intended to give you the stuff you need on a practical basis to get online, because it's focused at how do you take a business and get it set up and move online. But what I like about this is the basic HTML and CSS books very often don't take you to the point where you can actually release it and see it online. But this course does. So in, I think it's the 6th or 7th lecture, when it starts looking at GitHub and pushing your stuff online, you actually get to see using GitHub, pushing the content online to have it appear so that you can access it that way. And then it shows you how to add your domain name on there. So it actually gets you to move the basic HTML you've created and stick it online to work with, because it's designed as a very practical course to cover like sales type techniques. So it shows you things like how to create the really annoying modal div things for selling stuff. But that's a useful concept to know, and it's useful to understand the code that sits behind that, because most courses show you how to use libraries from someone else or third-party services. The actual code for doing that is really simple, and it walks through there, which gives you then more flexibility in how you build this code up. And because it's covering it from the very basics, you'll understand it. Now, from a testing perspective, all this is good because you understand from a very simple level the building blocks of the web. And this pretty much, this covers JavaScript as well, so it's a good overview, but it's not going really into detail for JavaScript. But you've got stuff that covers that. So in the JavaScript way, which I think is an excellent book, it does cover almost the full everything you're going to want to know pretty much about JavaScript for getting started. So what I like about JavaScript Way is it teaches you stuff within the console. So all of this is code that you will type into your dev console, your browser. You've got access to this instantly. You don't have to install anything. That's what the console.log here is. It's showing stuff in the console. And this will get you used to using the dev tools, interacting with the pages, and that will expand your ability to write JavaScript, experiment with other people's code, and do more testing. So I like that approach because I like it because that's how I teach things as well. Then it covers object-oriented code very well. Nice simple examples, easy to get your head around, because I remember when I was starting with JavaScript and object-oriented stuff, I was getting confused as to how to do this, but it covers it in a really nice, simple way. Then it moves on to functional programming and shows you how to wrap it all up into applications. Right, so it moves on to bigger examples, and then even moves further onto interacting with the web services, with the backend server, and even takes you into working with Node and Node.js. So I mean, it's a in-depth book that will cover a lot of stuff, but I like its very simple approach, and it will augment all the stuff you're learning on the other front end stuff. And this is very useful when you are starting to do more technical web testing as well as web development. Then this complements the JavaScript Beginner's Guide course, which you got in here. This course, again, covers some of the material, but because it's videos, you can see it in action. Because sometimes when you're typing stuff in, you don't realize you've made a mistake. You can't spot the mistake. It's obvious when you know what's happening, but you can't see it. But when you see someone writing the code in front of you, it's a lot easier to map onto the typing that you're doing. So I like this, again, as a complement. JavaScript Way is an excellent book, and then you've got the video overview from the JavaScript Beginner's Guide, which complements the material that's in there. So that's just the first 5 things on the bundle there: the JavaScript Way, JavaScript Beginner's Guide, the 3 online courses, and the Zero to Startup. I'm going to go back to that because this covers stuff for people who are absolute beginners and people who have done some of this before, want pragmatic introductions, and there's things in there I haven't done. So I need to do that to expand the reach of the things that I've got online. But of course, the bundle itself has more than that. I'm not sure I'm even going to cover everything that the bundle has in it over the next 6 days until the deal's gone. But I'm certainly going to drill into some more of these because I want to have a look at it. I mean, I think there's enough there in just the web stuff to give you value. And then you've got all the other books that are in there. But remember, this deal is only up for 6 more days. 6 more days.